India has a graveyard of airlines. Kingfisher, Jet Airways, Go Air, Air Deccan, all of them walked in with big dreams and a bigger burn rate. In 2010, there were six airlines in India. Today, there are only four. So, when a brand new airline showed up in 2022, right in the middle of a post COVID rebound with no legacy network, no grandfather slots, and a founder who had watched multiple airlines collapse from the inside, the obvious question was, why would anyone try this? Meet Akasa Air. Backed by the late billionaire Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Manipal Group's Ranjan Pai, and seasoned aviation veterans who had lived through the wreckage of Jet and Go Air firsthand, Akasa launched with one clear idea: build slow, build right, and build to last 100 years. In its first year, the airline ordered 226 planes. It started flying internationally within 2 years of launch, something that used to take airlines at least 5 years to do. Today, it holds nearly 5% of India's domestic market, running 140 to 150 flights a day. Now, that sounds modest until you consider what is happening to everyone else. You will remember how IndiGo, the 65% market share giant, just cancelled over 4,500 flights in December, stranding nearly a million passengers. Air India is still absorbing the fallout from last year's Ahmedabad crash and a messy merger with Vistara. SpiceJet seems permanently one crisis away from shutting down. For Akasa, the timing feels almost cinematic. But here's the thing: Akasa is dealing with its own set of turbulence: delayed planes, departing co founders, and airports where it can barely find a place to park. So, the real question is not whether Akasa can survive the chaos around it, it is whether it can outrun it. Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Snigdha Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rachel Varghese and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Thursday, the 12th of March. Akasa's CEO Vinay Dubey says something that will stop you in your tracks. He says the foundation of Akasa has been built by copying other smart players. Now, for an airline that is trying to carve its own identity, that is a bold thing to admit. But Dubey is deliberate about it. Single aircraft type, single engine type, single cabin, and no complexity, no sprawl. The playbook looks a lot like early Indigo, and that is entirely the point. The management trio behind Akasa knew exactly what breaks an airline. Dubey spent 3 decades with American and Delta Airlines before moving through Jet and Go Air. The co founder, Aditya Ghosh, ran Indigo for a decade, and CFO Ankur Goel helped take Indigo public in 2015. These are people who have seen the inside of both success and spectacular failure. Their core obsession is cost, specifically cost per available seat kilometer. That is, how much it costs to fly one seat for 1 kilometer. The lower that number, the healthier the airline. Indigo is the industry benchmark. Akasa is gunning for it. Dubey declined to share the exact figures with my colleague, the Ken reporter Nuha Bubere, but he said that they are tracking well against internal targets. Aviation analyst Gagan Dixit from Elara Capital confirms that the approach mirrors Indigo's early strategy: keep the model clean, keep the costs down, and grow with discipline. To keep costs lean, Akasa chose Boeing 737 MAX over Airbus A320. Indigo had already locked up much of the A320 order book, and the MAX offered 2 to 3% better fuel efficiency per seat in certain configuration, along with a strong maintenance deal through engine maker CFM International. At the time, Boeing was rebuilding trust after the MAX crashes of 2018 and 19 and was offering competitive commercial terms to win back airline confidence. Also, the investor base gave Akasa room to think long. The Jhunjhunwala family, despite losing Rakesh Jhunjhunwala within a week of the airline's first flight, stayed in. They remain the largest shareholders, holding around 35% as of early 2026. Claypon Capital, Premji Invest, and 361 round out the backing. Sekar Garisa from Claypon put it plainly to my colleague Nuha. They said punctuality is no longer a differentiator. Sustainable margins and genuine customer service are. And that is the gap that Akasa wants to fill. And here is where the story gets complicated. Stay tuned. In August 2024, Boeing's machinists went on a strike. The strike lasted over 100 days and hit Akasa's delivery schedule pretty hard. The airline had been promised around 50 aircrafts by March 2025, and that target slipped significantly. Akasa had already hired and trained a large roster of pilots in anticipation of a growing fleet. When the planes did not arrive, at least 43 of those trained pilots walked out straight to Air India Express. Boeing has since stabilized and is delivering 2 planes a month to Akasa. The airline now has 35 aircrafts. And to stay ahead of future demand, Akasa has already posted vacancies for first officers it won't need for another 3 years at least. It is also building an in house pilot training program, modeling it on IndiGo's approach. The airline's leadership side has also taken some hits. Co founder Praveen Iyer, who led network planning as chief commercial officer, exited in February. He was the second senior departure in 4 months following Neelu Khatri, co founder and head of international operations. Now, these are not small losses. Both were architects of how the airline was built. And then there is the slot problem, and it may be the most structural challenge that Akasa faces. You see, airport parking bays in India are largely held by older established carriers. Indigo alone holds 20 slots in Mumbai. Akasa has around 30 in Mumbai and 20 in Delhi out of a combined 364. So, to grow beyond those limits, Akasa is looking where others are not: new terminals, greenfield airports, and secondary cities. The new Guwahati terminal, for example. The upcoming airports in Navi Mumbai and Noida as well. These are all calculated bets on where aviation capacity in India is actually expanding. Dubey is clear eyed about the geometry of the market. Indigo's December fiasco forced the airline to give up roughly 10% of its routes. Akasa wants those routes, but wanting them and being able to fly them are two different things. You need the planes and the slots to make it work. Dubey sums up his philosophy with a line that sounds simple but is actually quite precise. He says, when you're being chased by a bear, you don't outrun the bear, you just need to outrun the people next to you. Right now, a lot of people next to Akasa are stumbling. So the airline just needs to keep finding its footing.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings, and a full subscription offers daily, long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CN.